Okay, so I realized that not a lot of people know the origins of this book. I thought I'd tell you about that before I went on to the next chapter, just for, you know, for fun facts' sake. Basically, this started off as a Twilight fanfiction, so if a lot of you are wondering why Anna reminds you of Bella and why Mr. Grey reminds you of Edward, that's why. Story is, it got so popular on fanfiction.net that the person who wrote it took it down and then posted it on their own website, changed the names, and then it got published. Yeah, who really knows? Okay, so let's go on to chapter 2. Read this last night. Made me laugh. 12 o'clock. Okay, so basically the first half of this chapter isn't really that eventful. She goes home, she talks about her life for a bit. Yeah, she's a little bit shaken. She tries to recover what's left of her equilibrium, if that makes any sense at all. She tells us again that she thinks he's arrogant, and then on her way home she says, "Ground," or rather thinks, "Ground, swallow me up now." I don't know any 21-year-olds who actually think like that, so whatevs. And then she says, "I never have to see him again." That's just asking for trouble, isn't it? Okay, so she talks about where she lives on the Vancouver campus of Washington State U. She tells us a little bit about her job. It's literally a paragraph long, and she says, "I'm crap at any DIY. I leave that all to my dad." This would be significant if she told us more about him, but I guess we'll find out more about that later. And Catherine talks about Catherine and her talk about the interview. She blushes again. She bites her lip like Bella. Yeah, in the previous chapter, Christian actually said something about offering Anna, I keep wanting to say Bella. Christian offered Anna the opportunity to get into one of their internship programs. And Catherine points this out. She says, "I doubt that, Anna. Come on, he practically offered you a job." And this leaves me wondering, she's a literature student. What use is she in a business like Christian Grey's? Yeah, apparently she's just really obvious. Her mother can tell too. Like, while she's on the phone, "Anna, have you met someone?" Well, oh no, and then halfway through the chapter things start to get a little bit more interesting, per se. Her good friend Jose comes to visit with a bottle of champagne, and he, I guess he's the equivalent of Jacob here. I mean, like, she calls him my good friend Jose, and that just pretty much screams that he's already been friend-zoned. Yeah, down here. "Jose and I are good friends, but I know deep down inside he'd like to be more. He's cute and funny, but he's just not for me. He's more like a brother I'd never had. A moment for a fallen friend." Oh, and then things get really interesting. By Saturday, she's working again. And for some strange reason, Christian Grey turns up at her store. Awkward. She says that she has heart failure, which is really not a good term. I just finished that subject at uni. Honestly, that's not a good thing. "I was in the area," he says by way of explanation. "I need to stock up on a few things. It's a pleasure to see you again, Miss Steele." His voice is warm and husky like dark melted chocolate fudge caramel. Or something. Then he asks her for a few things that you would find at a hardware store. Cable ties. I don't know why she repeats this like it's weird. I mean, she works at a hardware store, and he says he wants cable ties, and she repeats it in her head as if she thinks it's weird. And this part made me laugh last night, actually. "And from a very tiny, underused part of my brain, probably located at the base of the medulla oblongata where my subconscious dwells, comes the thought, he's here to see you." Okay, first of all, I'm a med student. I don't remember what the medulla oblongata is. She is a literature student. I asked April this, actually. I asked her if she remembered what the medulla oblongata is. She came up with it with thinking that it was somewhere in your kidney. Well, why would you use that in a sentence, in a book, not about biology? Why? Then they have a very quiet conversation. "This way," I murmur, embarrassed. Masking tape is in the decorating aisle. I glance behind me as he follows. "Have you worked here long?" His voice is low, and he's gazing at me, concentrating hard. I blush brightly. Why the hell does he have this effect on me? I feel like I'm 14 years old. Gauche as always, and out of place. Eyes front still. 4 years, I mutter, as we reach our goal. To distract myself, I reach down and select 2 widths of masking tape. Of the 2 widths of masking tape that we stock. Oh, wait. "I'll take that one," Gray says softly, pointing to the wider tape, which I passed him. Our fingers brush briefly, and the current is there again, zapping through me like I've touched an exposed wire. I gasp involuntarily as I feel it all the way down somewhere dark and unexplored, deep in my belly. Desperately, I scrabble around for my equilibrium. "Anything else?" My voice is husky and breathy. "Some rope, I think." His voice mirrors mine. Husky. "You're in a hardware store. There is really no need to speak quietly." I don't even know. I don't know. And then he asks her, "What is your thing, Anastasia?" "Books," I whisper. "Books. Yeah." She flushes again. I like this one. "I must be the color of the Communist Manifesto." Of all red things, why the Communist Manifesto? Why? Oh, another person she's friend-zoned. She's friend-zoned another person. So far, we know that Jose, her friend that she met in freshman year, has been friend-zoned. And then Clayton's is the hardware store she works at, and it's owned by Mr. Clayton, and his youngest brother, Paul, has also been friend-zoned. That's obvious. And that's it, really? So basically all that happened in that chapter was nothing. We find out the two boys she's friend-zoned, and Mr. Gray turns up where she works. That's the end of the chapter. By the way, I forgot to mention, I was talking to Rachel last night, and Rachel asked me to send her the PDFs of the book that are on my computer. And basically, thank you, Rachel. I'm really glad I'm not suffering through this by myself. So yeah, this one goes out to you.